Hello, I'm Langston and I'm back on my channel, Gymlandia. And today I'm just going to be giving y'all a review of the US Nationals, and I'm just going to be diving straight into it. So, child, it's a lot to talk about. So, first, I want to start off with Hezley Rivera. And Hezley, she shut y'all bitches up. Like, a lot of y'all were popping big rah rah out the mouth, about Hezley throughout this whole quad. I have been also kind of critical of her. I never said she couldn't win. I said she should have been winning the whole fucking time. Different circumstances. The only gymnast who should be beating Hezley is Claire Pease. Or, she Hezley should be beating Claire, but that's the only gymnast I could accept beating Hezley. But any of these other bitches, Jayla, she should be dusting their asses. So, it took long enough. But we're here, and this is a very big thing for her. Like she hit 8 routines. I don't think she's ever done this since Olympic trials last year. But this is a very good thing for her. This is also a big win for Dominicans because child Dominicans have been getting dragged, for the last couple of weeks on the internet. You had Kenny from Love Island season six, get exposed for making hella racist anti-black tweets about his girlfriend Janae. You had Amaya, a contestant from this season of Love Island, get exposed to making hella colorist tweets directed towards Black women. And a year ago, a lot of Dominicans who were defending Hesley were saying hella racist things about Black people and Black women and trying to gas her up to disempower Black women, even though her brother's like a whole motherfucking nigga. So, I ain't forget about some of the shit that y'all had to say about Black peoples a year ago, but I am still happy to see Hesley blossoming in this way. Um, I was very impressed with her beam work. I saw a lot of people trying to say she was overscored on beam. I don't agree with that. I think that she was underscored on beam at least night two. I do think that she was scored fairly night one. You got to realize these hoes gave Alicia and Mario a 8.5 E. Suni Lee got an 8.0 E in qualifications. And didn't Suni get like a 7.879 E in team in all around? So when you think about that logic, Paris Olympic judging logic, a lot of the scores weren't that far off. The biggest beef, in my opinion, with Hesley is I think she was scored fairly on ball and even bars and beam. I think she was underscored on beam night too, but she was hella overscored on floor exercise. Mama had no business being close to a 14 too. And I hear that, like, but she really made a statement. She, shut a lot of her haters up. And, right now she's one of the favorites for the world title in Jakarta. Moving on to Sky Blakely. Sky Blakely also, listen, we don't talk about Sky Blakely's face card enough. Like, Sky Blakely is so pretty. Like, her hair. I love how she always wears her natural hair. Like, it's really a statement for Black women, in particular in a sport like gymnastics. So I really do appreciate that, how she takes the time to style it. But her face card, listen, the edge is gonna be laid every motherfucking time. She is that girl. She had some struggles night one, but night two, she got it together. The beam was beaming, the bars was barsing. She still had the issues with some of her handstands. I don't know why she likes to fuck around with that half pirouette at the end of her routine. But, we did see improvement in the podium training, but we did not see that like translate into the competition. Moving on to Claire Pease, and a lot of y'all want to hate on my girl. At the end of the day, Claire Pease is that girl, okay? Like she did not perform well at, this she did not perform well um, at nationals. But Mama scored a 53.9 with a fall and going out of bounds with 2 feet. So, and she said that fuck ass dismount combo too. So Mama, I'm trying to say, like, Mama is that fucking girl. Like, she has the potential to also win the world title and all around, in my opinion. Like, she's very strong of a gymnast, and it's kind of a dilemma for her Because despite her having bad competition at nationals, she did win classics, and her classic score was, pretty decent as well. And she didn't do her best, but she still scored pretty decently. And she just has so much potential. Like, she is probably the most talented of the gymnasts competing here. Like, let's be fucking for real. She has the potential to go all the way to LA 2028, but Larry don't fucking break her ass. But, she has to show that. Like, she needs to show consistency, which she has been showing throughout this season. But it's just a difficult choice because I want her on the world's team, not just because I like her as a gymnast, because I want her to get the experience because she's useful for USA Gymnastics in the future. But, she has to show that as well. So, I do understand, the choices, but I think it's important to look towards the future rather than looking towards the past. And, that's kind of the argument for Leanne. And I do want to say that my argument for Leanne is the way Leanne Wong clear house, I'm talking about, especially on vault, she could be the favorite for the world title because unless Reby comes back, I don't think anyone can beat those two vaults that we saw her do night two. She needs a lot of improvement on floor and beam. I think she was overscored in those events. Like she has like no difficulty in those events. And her fucking around with this Kim dismount on bar on beam, like this is the NCAA. And I could take the whip half to front full when she has it a third tumbling pass after a syllabus and double layout. But you're only doing three passes and initial second passes, like Leanne, let's be fucking for real. Like I don't feel like hoes are talking about that enough. But it was still very impressive for her to, compete how she competed. She did a very good job. But she does help a lot on vault, but she does not have the scores to be the second all around or even or even give USAG a good shot at winning the all around. She could upgrade on some other events and be competitive, but as of today, I don't like her chances in the all around over Claire, but I do like her chances at a medal, which is a fair point for Jakarta because she can win a world title on vault. It's very similar, like the battle between Claire and Hezly. I mean, sorry, the battle between Claire and Leanne is very similar to the battle between Morgan and Jordan Childs in 2017. It's very crazy how things in 2017 and 2025 are very similar. Same gymnast, same, potential situation with USAG, same fuck ass president. So you see, history kind of repeating itself a little bit. You see the similarities between Hesley and Reagan Smith. Like you get what I'm saying. You don't see it a little bit. Now, to compare Jocelyn and Jake Carey is the biggest reach, and you know how I feel about that. But Jocelyn, the floor was flooring. And a lot of people like, oh, she was overscored. And I don't really agree with that. Like when she was scored in 2023, they were a little bit less strict on floor than they were in Paris. They were way stricter in 2023 on vault, bars, and beam. But on Flapper, they were a little bit more lenient. But, you think about 2024, I mean, 2023, Jocelyn was getting like a 7.6, 7.7, and she was having hella issues with her tumbling passes too. Like she was having landing errors and still getting those scores. And I think that her artistry now is better than it was then. I'm talking, I know the artistry deductions are more now. So her getting a 7.7, 7.6, that's pretty reasonable. And I think if she does a better routine than that, she can get like a 7.8, 7.9, maybe 8.0 at her best. So realistically, I don't think that how she was score on the floor was not appropriate. Now I think she was hella overscored on beam and bars. Like, let's be fucking for real. A 13.7 for Jocelyn on bars. But everything else, my beat with Jocelyn is come with your chain, girl. Like you want to send a gymnast for two events, like one event, yes, it is an individual worlds, but just one event, like it just makes things so fucking difficult. And if they wanted to be petty, they could drop her ass to put Claire on the team. Like I'm thinking about ways they can justify putting Claire on the team. That's a way. And I really do appreciate how USAG got they four bitches together for that damn conference with, Hezly, Claire, Jocelyn, and Skye. And that's the kind of shit Marta does. Like she's gonna let you know, this is who I see as my players. She did the same shit in 2016, same shit in 2012. So when she picked that team, you can't say shit. And looking at where we are now, these units have the most potential. And that I really like USAG doing some shit like that. I like when they're honest and don't give bitches false hope. So you have bitches that can't do too fucking much when they get left off the team. I really appreciate that press conference. I want to see that every year. So you know who the top girlies are and who they're looking at. I really appreciate that because, like I said about my girl Claire Pease, Mama got all eight routines shown on NBC, despite not even finishing in the top eight. Because NBC knew she was that motherfucking girl, okay? Like they knew she was that motherfucking bitch. And they had to show that, okay? And I really appreciate I love how USAG is pushing her because they see what we see. And we're gonna leave it at that. Jayla Hang had a very disappointing nationals as well. Not as bad as Claire, but Mama only barely broke 51, 55 day two. And her day one was not good. So, I really feel like Jayla was a little bit overhyped this season in general. Like, I do think that she has potential, but she doesn't have a standout event. She does have a pretty solid ball. I would give her that. But I don't think that she gives USAG the best chance at an all-around medal, in my opinion. So I always, she is still the third best all around in the country to me. I feel like, Hezly, then Claire, but Claire's close to Hezly. And then you have Leanne and Jayla for the, third best all around, third, fourth best all arounders. But I'm still impressed by her. Like I like, that she's pushing some innovation, some difficulty, but she's still not all the way there, especially on, bars and floor. Moving on to Ashley Sullivan, I was pretty impressed with how she did overall. She did have some issues. She does need some improvement. I was very impressed by her bringing her DTY. That was a very good thing. Like, I like that she knows what she needs to do and she's getting there. I need her to bring the Chuso and the syllabus in the same routine. That's what she gonna let bitches know, okay? And I'm really looking forward to looking out for her the next couple of years. Moving on to Simone Rose. Simone Rose just never bloomed how she was expected to. And she did pretty decent in this competition, but she just lacks the difficulty. Like one of my friends said, it's like watching level 10 gymnastics. And I'm kind of happy she got humbled at this competition because I think she hit 8 for 8, but the scores just weren't scoring for her. I'm talking about, like, she does not have the difficulty to be competitive. And I don't think that she should be anywhere near a world's team. At best, an alternate. Just like she does not have this, like, the difficulty. I'm talking about, like, her difficulty is a joke, just to put it 100%. Like, I'd even be the one to say it. And I think that she is doing better on bars in particular. But she just has so many execution errors on bars that are really, not looked at by USAG. She doesn't have a DTY. Her beam is decent, but I mean it's still like a mid 5 D score. And her floor, she only has 3 passes and her opening pass is a 2.5 to punch. Like, and I mean, I feel the same way about Jayla too, but come the fuck on now. Like, at your big motherfucking ranking gymnastics, like, child, 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 child. But she is progressing, and I do like to see that from her. Like, she has progressed a lot from last year, but she needs way more difficulty to be considered on anything, in my opinion. I'm sorry. uh Risa Spond, I don't know where the fuck Risa Spond went. Like, mama, what the hell happened, girl? Like, I hear shit from her this whole meet, and I was really looking, she was one of the girls I was really looking forward to, but she ain't pull up with nothing. She ain't pull up with nothing, in my opinion. Dulce Kaylor, I was really impressed with her gymnastics at this meet. She really stood out. She always had a great DTY. She had pretty workable bars. I'm really impressed by her floor tumbling combination. She did okay on beam. She's definitely in the mix. I don't think that she's making this world team, but I was really impressed by her. I had someone who was part of my brand who was the biggest Dulce Kaylor fan, and I really see what he was seeing now that I saw her compete at nationals. Moving on to, I forgot to talk about Tiana. And Tiana, child, she was not there. He was not there. Listen, the double out, the split jump gave everything it was supposed to motherfucking give and more. The floor night too, yes. Like, with the music, yes, motherfucking man. She ate that shit. I'm not gonna lie. One thing about Tiana, she gonna serve beam and floor down every motherfucking time. But the bars just don't be barsing. The vault was okay, right? But she looked really good on bars and put her shit on. She was giving a Jade Carey 2021 glow up. But what she gave us in competition did not serve half of that. I was very disappointed. But she still did a pretty good job. I see hoes trying to tell her to go compete for Sri Lanka, which is ruthless as fuck. Like she does have the potential to make LA. It's a tough lift, but let's not act like she's some untalented ass motherfucking bitch. Don't diss my girl like that. Let's clock that. Okay. Moving on to, Valeri. I'm really sick of Valeri fucking around with Claire Pease's bars. Like, what the fuck is he doing with that? Like, let her do two jice to her dismount. Like, you not watch Guy Blakely do her motherfucking dismount? Like, why is Claire Pease doing that toe on half? Like, what's the point of that shit? She doesn't even need, I don't even think she counts the skill because she already has 8 skills that are good. So why is she even doing that shit? Like, he's doing that shit for no fucking reason. It's injury prone and it's a deduction trap. Like, Claire P should be breaking well over 14 every routine. Besides her 310 handstand on her Takachev, like, she doesn't really have that many other errors. Hezly, why would you give Hezly two Takaches when you know she gets no release, no height on them? Hezly has 6'10" just on releases. Not even talking about the bent arms, but Hezly, like literally, her Reeknut and her Takache both 3'10s. Like, yeah, I'm trying to say, what the fuck is this nigga thinking, bro? Like, Valeri just so stuck in his motherfucking ways, and I just can't. Like, I'm talking about, I really can't. Like, Hezly's beam dismount looks a lot better, but how many injuries did she have to risk to get it to like this? You know what I'm talking about? And I just, child, like, I just can't. Everything else, I do appreciate the skills he gave Hesley and Claire on beam. I think they're really workable. I like how he's pacing Claire. Like, clearly Claire can do a lot more, but he's pacing her. And I do appreciate that, which is better for Valeri because he like to give bitches a lot. And I don't think he's not pushing Claire as much as he could. But the bars, like, that shit is a fucking mess. Like, he cleared house with the beginning sequence. I'm not gonna lie, the beginning sequence gives everything it's supposed to give and more. But everything else, stop with the fuckery. I'm sorry. And y'all wanted me to talk about Nina Durwell's retirement. And Nina Durwell, she did retire. I was very disappointed to hear that. Nina Durwell was the Empress of Caucasia. She led the white women's to prosperity. I'm talking about she led her nation of Belgium to a rebuilding effort after, being defeated by, Germany in war. She was able to rebuild Belgium's economy, rebuild Belgium's prominence, on the global stage. And, look at the economic success. I'm talking about under her reign, Belgium prospered. So let's not forget about everything she did. And it was very good to see her go out on, a good note, with winning two, European titles on bars and beam. But, she has left a successor, to the throne of Caucasia. I'm talking about to the throne of the European descendant peoples. And that is Claire Pease. Claire Pease is the rightful heir of Caucasia. And Claire Pease is not old enough to pursue that title right now. She's in her regency, like there is someone ruling in her state, an appointed leader, that's guiding for her. But Claire Pease is the rightful heir. Okay, so let's not forget that. Let's clock that. Y'all want to know who the rightful heir of Caucasia is? It's Claire motherfucking Pease, bitch. So let's go ahead and respect mamas and prepare her to have, her seat on the Iron Throne. Okay. What did Damon Targaryen say? We fight for our queen. Okay. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Make sure to tune into my live. I'm going to be reviewing nationals, talking about, some stuff. Jakarta is fucking around. Like here it is August, and Jakarta still has not released their ticket. So I can't book my tickets to Indonesia. I can't plan my trip to Bali, my trip to Singapore, because they're planning my motherfucking face. Like post the tickets. It's going on August in the World Championship. It's already August. It's going on September, and the World Championships is mid-October, and they ain't selling no motherfucking tickets. Make that shit make sense. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Anyway, make sure to tune into my live, and it was great to, run into y'all. Goodbye.